Good evening, Garden City. I'd like to call to order our regular city council meeting on Monday, January 23rd, 2023 at 7 p.m. First order of business will be our opening ceremony, which will begin with the national anthem, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for those service members that have given their life. If everyone would please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, take roll, please.
Mayor Jacobs.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dold.
Here.
Councilmember Karafotis. Here. Councilmember Squires.
Here.
Councilmember DeMichael.
Here.
Councilmember Earl.
Here.
Councilmember Witt.
Here.
You do have a quorum with all 7 members present, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item 4, approval of the agenda.
Mayor,
Councilmember Earl.
I move to approve the agenda for Monday, January 23rd, 2023.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires. Any discussion from table? From the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Okay, we have a recognition tonight. I'm going to move down to the podium. For those of you that don't know Lori from Sports Venue, and I'm pretty sure everybody in the city does, for all she does, we are, as a council, going to recognize some of the things she's done. She's done so much for everything in the community, and by everything, I mean she's done dog rescues, any kind of animal rescues. She's done fundraising for every organization you can think of, from Garden City Youth Athletic Association to the high school teams to seniors to everything. So come on up, Lori. We have a little plaque for you. Come on. Stand up. Come on, stand up.
Hi.
Okay, so the plaque reads, it's a resolution of recognition, January 23rd, 2023, honoring the faithful years of service to Garden City of Lori Viviano from the Sports Venue. Whereas Lori has been the owner of the Sports Venue in Garden City, Michigan since 2004, And whereas Lori has served free senior dinners for over 18 years, including free Easter dinners for seniors during the COVID-19 outbreak. And whereas Lori has supported Poet Animal Rescue by purchasing the building for them, volunteering countless hours a year, as well as hosting fundraisers, attracting thousands of dollars annually for the organization. And whereas Lori managed a bottle drive during the COVID-19 crisis for employees out of work and for animal rescue, and whereas Lori has served food to the Garden City Fire Department and Police Department during times of extended work hours and emergencies in the city. And whereas for decades, Lori has sponsored local sports teams, and whereas every year Lori donates extra turkeys to needy families for Christmas, and whereas Lori regularly supports the Garden City High School programs with donations made in support of activities such as Project Graduation and by placing ads in school brochures. And whereas Lori has allowed countless fundraisers to take place at the sports venue in order to help local sports teams and organizations, including the GCYAA, GCHS, Autos for Autism, and many others. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of Garden City congratulates Lori Viviano on her faithful service in working tirelessly to make everybody in the community is taken care of, no matter what their circumstances. Congratulations, Lori.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, we got one more. Want to say anything, Lori?
I just want to say that I didn't earn this. My staff earned this with me. Nothing can be done without them. So thank you, staff. Thank you, Garden City. I guess I got to say thank you to Mark Jacobs and the City Council. And thank you to Matt, because I couldn't have done any of this without you. So thank you.
That was fun, Lori. Okay. We also have a swearing in for fire engineer Nicholas Schroeder. Mr. Miller, after Fire Chief Harmon comes up.
Hello. Very happy to be here. This was originally scheduled about 3 months ago, and Nick and his wife were expecting, and the babies came early. He has 2 daughters with him tonight. His wife will be pinning on his badge. Just want to give you a little background on Nick. He graduated in 2010, decided he wanted to go into the fire service. He attended Schoolcraft College, where he received his Fire 1 and 2 and his basic and then his paramedic. He did a little bit of a short stint for a private agency, and we hired him in 2013. He was part of our first SAFER grant. He's done quite a bit of training while he's been here. Most notably, he went out to Emmitsburg, Maryland at the National Fire Academy. He's taken Fire Investigation 1 and 2 with the state police. And he also has done firefighter safety and survival training, in addition to the pump ops that's required for his position. His wife Chelsea will be pinning his badge on tonight, and supporting them are his mother and father, Neil and Debbie. Sorry about that. I just wanted to mention one thing too, is his grandmother back in the day. There's only a couple of us here that probably remember her, mid-90s to late 90s, when Garden City Hospital used to provide our respiratory screening and do our bloodborne pathogen, and his grandmother was one of the nurses in charge of the program. So he's got some ties back here quite a few years, and he has a brother that also serves as a Livonia firefighter. So Nick, would you come up with your wife, Chelsea? Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. I'm sorry. I'm out of order, Your Honor.
Just Nick, we'll swear you in, and then the chief has, you're going to put in, and then we're going to be okay. Are you ready? Yep. All right. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Nicholas Schroeder,
I, Nicholas Schroeder,
having been duly appointed to
the rank of engineer
for the Garden City Fire Department,
for the Garden City Fire Department,
do solemnly swear to perform my duties
to
to the best of my ability,
the best of my ability,
to serve the citizens of the city of Garden City
to serve the citizens of the city of Garden City
with compassion, courage, and integrity,
with compassion, courage, and integrity,
to serve my commanding officers
to serve my commanding officers
with respect and dignity,
with respect and dignity,
and to uphold the laws and constitutions
and to withhold the laws and constitutions
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the state of Michigan,
the state of Michigan,
and the city of Garden City.
and the city of Garden City.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. All right. Thank you. You want to stand? You're not that far. Thank you. Then we're going to have you sign. I believe your wife is going to do the pinning. Stand in the middle so we can get a good picture. Thank you. Yeah, don't fall. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yep, we have one more, I think. Chief is going to come up. We have one more plaque. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Congresswoman Tlaib was here in November, but Nick and his wife were busy delivering their twins.
Priorities.
This is a congressional record that was read into the congressional records at the federal level. So this is from Congresswoman Tlaib.
Okay, at this time, we're going to take a short recess so the twins can get some sleep tonight. Okay, we're back in session. Item number 6, comments from state and county officials, and I don't see any. Public hearing, we have presentation from our auditors, Plant and Moran, Dave Helisek and his crew.
Thank you, Mr.
Welcome.
Mayor, members of council. My name's Dave Helisek. With me this evening is Nikki Atcho and Phil Feminino, and we're here to present the results of the financial statement and federal programs type audit for the year ended June 30 of 2022. You should have 4 documents either with you this evening or they were delivered prior to this evening. We're going to touch on each of them just a little bit. The largest being the financial statement. We also have a communication to those charged with governance. We have a communication as it relates to the federal program audit work where we did. But the majority of our presentation is going to be the graph that was passed out this evening. While we won't go into the financial statement itself in great detail, although that's going to be really the premise of the graph presentation, we did meet with the city manager and finance director previous to this meeting and did go through the document pretty thoroughly at that meeting. We had comments, they had questions. At the end of that meeting, we were able to date the audit opinion at that time and finalize what our opinion was on the financial statements. As a result of the work that we did for the audit, we were able to give the financial statements an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance that we can give a set of financial statements. What that means is these statements as presented fairly reflect the financial position of the city as of June 30, 2022. And the change in that financial position are the revenues, the expenditures, statement of cash flows, and all the notes within the document itself. Again, it's the highest level of assurance that we can give a set of financial statements, and it's the one that the city really sets out to achieve when they're presenting and reporting the information over to us for audit. So with that, one other thing I wanted to cover. We had talked about, for the past couple of years, the implementation of a new standard, GASB 87, as related to leases, both the use of an asset or potentially a lease receivable. So we had spent some time, sent some work aids over to finance. Prior to the audit, they worked their way through that. Just wanted to ensure that the city, or make sure that you all know the city did appropriately implement that standard, which can be a pretty heavy lift for this year's audit. So in addition to what normally needs to be done, finance handled that implementation pretty seamlessly. So I wanted to make sure I covered that and before I turned it over to Phil.
Thank you, Dave. So as Dave mentioned, we'll start off with going over the graph package that was been provided today. So we'll start with the first graph, which looks at the general fund revenue for the city for the past 4 years. And you'll notice it went up about $3.1 million in the current year. And this was related to 2 sources primarily. Your property tax revenue went up about $650,000 from increase in taxable values within the city, as well as your state and federal source revenue went up. So your state shared revenue went up about $250,000, and your federal revenues went up about $1.7 million related to the ARPA money received and the grant money there. The next slide we'll look at is the general fund expenditures. So this graph depicts the general fund expenditures for the past 4 years, and the expenses went up about $2.4 million this year. And this kind of relates to one of the net operating transfer out. So there's transfers out of the general fund into your capital projects funds for those capital projects, as well as some increased costs in public safety related to some higher retirement costs. That was 2 of the leaders for the increase in your operating expenditures. The next graph shows the operating expenditures compared to your revenues for the general fund, and then the line going across that is your unassigned fund balance. So the unassigned fund balance doesn't have any restrictions or any assignments, and you'll see about the $23.9 million in revenue compared to the $22.3 in expenditures. So in the current year, your unassigned fund balance did go down as a result of there was an assignment, which we'll talk about in the next graph, of some of that ARPA money for future capital projects. So that did reduce some of your unassigned fund balance. So if we go to the next graph, as you'll see here, there is a new category for assigned related to the assignment of the ARPA reimbursements received by the city during the year. And those were assigned for future capital projects. And you'll see that your fund balance in total went up about 1.6 million as compared to the prior year. The next graph we have here is the operating revenue of the water and sewer fund as compared to your operating expenses without depreciation. So you'll see that your revenues decreased slightly just from a decrease in unit usage and units billed this year. And then there's a significant decrease in your operating expenses. This relates to OPEB cost recoveries. So during the year, there was a change in the assumptions for the OPEB valuation. As a result, the discount rate increased. And given that increase in the discount rate, your present value of your future benefits that you'll have to make relating to your OPEB gets discounted by a larger rate. So therefore, it reduces your cost currently on your statements. And then the final graph is the water and sewer fund working capital. And so this is looking at the liquidity of the water and sewer fund by comparing your current assets, which would be any assets that are expected to be converted into cash within a year, less any customer receivables, and then it deducts any current liabilities or amounts that are expected to be paid within the year. So this activity usually fluctuates with your cash and investments that you have in the water and sewer fund. So in the past year, the water and sewer fund's assets or cash and investments decreased about $2 million. And so you'll see that decrease in the graph. So that is the kind of the main points from the financials that we wanted to point out. I'll now.
I just add one thing real quick. If everyone could move backwards to the first revenue graph. Just wanted to add on to one of the items Phil had mentioned. When we take a look at the state and federal resource number at 7.3 million, and even where it was at 5.1 million, yes, there has been some continual, increases in the revenue sharing, even at times where there was predictions that the sales tax may not lead to the levels that have been hoped for. But really to kind of set the baseline, I think on a go-forward basis, you really need to go back and start looking at somewhere around that 2020 state and federal revenue sharing number, because as Phil mentioned, the ARPA, and we use the term ARPA, and we've been dealing with the Rescue Plan Act that had provided this money. So it's brought in some revenues, and then during last year's audit, we had a single audit related to monies that came from the federal government to really help offset some of the COVID costs that flowed through the state. So it's been kind of back-to-back years, good years as far as revenue sharing, federal revenue sharing making its way. We can hope that can continue. It's probably not going to be at the level it has. That being said, we don't believe that the county has spent all of their monies yet, and that there's a potential that some could flow through significantly here. But it's just a reminder from a budgeting standpoint and kind of a looking forward. We probably at this point couldn't or shouldn't anticipate revenue sharing, federal and state, at that 7.3, 7.4 level on a go-forward basis. So.
Hi, Nikki Acho. So I'm going to cover both of the letters that you have in front of you. I'm going to start with the smaller one. So this letter relates to the audit of federal awards, and it looks a little different than it has in the past. So the city typically has a compliance audit every year of the federal funds that have been spent, and a full single audit report will be issued. This year, the city took advantage of an alternative compliance exam that was offered by the Office of Management and Budget for communities who did receive coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds. And so as a result of that alternative compliance exam, there was a streamlined approach in testing whether the city met the compliance requirements of the grant. And so this letter is the communication that we found no deficiencies in our testing and no costs were found to be ineligible expenses under the grant. And then the next letter, this is the letter that closes the loop on the required communication that we have with the governing body of the city every year. And so page 2, if you look, this includes any internal control matters that we identified as part of our audit. We did have one this year related to the timeliness of bank reconciliations performed for the treasurer's receiving account. This finding only relates to the period from July 2021 through December 2021. The best practice would be for bank reconciliations to be performed within 45 days of month end, which wasn't the case for this time frame. But we did expand our testing scope and noted that the bank recs for this account were done timely, beginning with January of 2022. So the issue has been corrected as of year end. Page 3 begins the required communications, and there were just a few items that I wanted to point out. Towards the top, it talks about the plan, scope, and timing. So we did perform the audit according to the plan, scope, and timing that we had communicated to council back in October. Near the middle of the page, it says that no new accounting policies were adopted or changed during the year. This is true. Dave alluded to GASB 87 that was applicable for the city. After the city did their analysis, they found that the impact wouldn't be material to the city, and we agreed. So you won't see the impact of GASB 87 reflected in the city's financial statements. Towards the bottom, there are certain numbers in your financial statements that are based on estimates. The incurred but not reported related to workers' comp and general liability funds, the net pension and net OPEB liabilities. We do evaluate the key assumptions and factors that go into those estimates and determine that they're reasonable in relation to the financial statements as a whole. Turning to page 4, just to note, we did not encounter any disagreements with management during our audit procedures, no difficulties encountered. And then the corrected and uncorrected misstatements section, there were no journal entries identified as part of our testing, except for the estimate of a potential property tax chargeback to Wayne County. Those are included in the last pages of this letter. The city management deemed them to be immaterial to the financial statements, and we agreed, so they're not reflected in the financials, but they are noted here to show you that we've passed on them. And then the remainder of this letter is legislative and other information, and David's going to walk us through those.
Thanks, Nikki. Just a couple of items. So we understand you're inundated probably with a lot of this information that's in this letter. You've got different staff members involved with different associations and are probably pretty familiar with it, but we try to at least try to group the ones that have financial impact, maybe in one document so you've kind of got it if you need to reach for it at some point. So usually there's one or two items I want to make sure I cover specifically in this. The first one relates really to the use of federal money. So as Nikki mentioned, in her presentation as it related to the Rescue Plan Act monies, we did do what was essentially the equivalent of a single audit on the expenditures for that plan. And in the effect that we had no compliance issues to report is really something that you shouldn't take for granted, because this was a new grant. It was a very complex grant if you really got in and looked at it. So your staff took the time, made sure that they understood it, understood the requirements, not only the spending requirements, but the reporting requirements. And while that's important, if we had come back behind and had some potential compliance issues, that can at times result in question costs and the potential to actually have to pay back some of the grant monies if you can't allocate them somewhere else. So, while maybe not, it's not something that the city deals with all the time as far as single audits and federal procurement, why I want to bring that up is, yes, we've done single audits or federal program audits 2 years in a row, and we do test these major programs. But in the years that we don't test it, the city does have federal monies that come through that are less than the $750,000 requirement we had. So just because we're not auditing it doesn't mean you don't have the requirements and the importance to make sure that you continue to understand the grants and meet those compliance measures. So I just wanted to make sure that that got the appropriate attention. I know we spent a lot of time on the financial matters, and while that's important, this is really just as important. The other thing I wanted to talk about was related to the legacy costs on page 7. And the legacy costs, as it's talked about here, really is, I'll say the promised benefits as it relates to pension and retiree health care that's been earned and how it's been, funded to date. So you can see the pension for the city and the court as well as the OPEB. And this is based on a measurement date of 12/31, so you're in the MERS program, and even though the city's a June year-end, the plan you're involved with is a December year-end, so this information is as of December 31st of 2021. So why is that important when looking at this? Well, this was a really good number in December of 31, and the market probably didn't do as well as it hoped in 2022. So while there's been, increases really as it relates to the funding of this and the performance, there might be a step back when that information comes out normally in the spring as it relates to 2022, but, it's pension, it's, you're in for the long term on this, you're not necessarily focused on any one given year. So we have that, but what's starting to even get more attention is the pension grant that's becoming available through the state of Michigan. So as part of its 2023 budget, there was approximately $1.5 billion that was put in the state's budget to really help local units of government address legacy costs as they're specifically related to pensions. And the goal of it was really to focus on those pensions that were funded at something less than 60%. So you can see here, the cities is just under there. The court is a little bit over that. Why I bring that up is while it's in the budget, Treasury's still working on the rules on it. It's our understanding there's supposed to be something that's going to be pushed out in the next couple months as far as qualifications, and it's going to be important, just like I talked about the rescue plan monies. The monies don't come without some sort of string attached. So, there's certain things longer term, not just in the application, but we expect to be longer term that you'll need to continue to comply with. So when those rules do come out, it'll be important for the city to evaluate whether or not it should participate in that program, in that application process, and whether or not, what the impact on the long-term requirements might be on the city. So again, other than letting you know it's out there, that's really all that we know right now. The other item relates to Public Act 33, which wasn't Public Act 33, it's really an amendment to Public Act 33 that was passed in the lame duck session. So if Garden City had been previously a township or a city of, I think, less than 15,500, those entities have always been allowed to actually raise monies as it related to public safety through a special assessment. Now, there was a process to go through that, but really you had the ability to do that from a special assessment standpoint. With the passage or the amendment of this public act, it now allows cities with populations of above 15,500 to go to a vote of the people if it chose to potentially raise additional monies for public safety. So again, that was lame duck. That was, usually we try to give a legislative update, but that actually got passed after this letter went out. No suggestions, just wanted to make sure everyone's aware that in case it comes up in any conversation, the one thing I want to make sure, again, that you're aware of is the rules are slightly different than for townships and cities and villages under 15,500. They've got like 3 ways to enter the special assessment. Cities with above 15,500 have 1 way to enter that special assessment. So again, not endorsing it, but you're probably going to hear a little bit more about it as, the spring goes on. So with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions on anything we covered or perhaps anything we didn't cover this evening.
Mayor?
Councilmember Earl.
Yeah, thank you for the update. And I realize that you don't know totally what the rules are going to be, but do you anticipate part of the pension grant to envelop some kind of percent funding, percent of your funding down the road? Like you have to be 70% funded or 80% funded by this time to maintain it?
I can't say for sure. What I can say is I saw a draft, actually, it was initiated in the 21-22 budget with actually, I think the House passed a bill that it didn't end up getting to the Senate. And some of the rules had to do with, and now I'm doing the best I can to recall it, was if there's an increase in a benefit, that benefit has to be pre-funded. So that's the thing, I don't know that that's going to be the rules here or what that impact is, but it would have to be an actuarial determination and say, okay, you're not going to be able to, whatever that benefit is, it's not going to be able to be amortized over 30 years. It feels like that. Again, I'm not sure what the rules are. There's going to be there was specific criteria you'd have to continue to adhere to, a lot of it as it related to what mortality tables you'd be using and discount rates to figure out where you were in line with this on a go-forward basis. But again, that was in a bill, I believe that was introduced in the House, never made it to the Senate, waiting for Treasury to come out to see what these rules might be. Thank you.
Mayor,
Councilmember Karafotis.
regarding the revenue, it says the court is the lowest it's been in the last 4 years, where previously it's gone up every year. Do we know why that's gone down so much?
Sorry.
It's the court revenue we're talking about?
Yeah.
Probably COVID, less criminal activity. I think one of the reasons we had a drop in court money over the years was the loss of Kroger and Kmart. That was actually, when you don't think about it, it's actually true, is criminal behavior with those big companies gone reduced our revenue. So it was coming back up. I would just guess, without the details, that COVID cut down a lot of crime. People aren't leaving their house and stores were shut down, so that might be part of the reduction, but.
Yeah, because 21, it was the highest it's ever been.
Yeah, just kind of a quick answer, but we can get more detail for you on that, though.
Yeah, thanks, Doc. We, not included in this, we actually do a separate audit of the court. So we verify that the numbers, we know the revenue numbers are going in good, but we didn't necessarily do an analysis over, what was different, because it's really, from their standpoint, it's whatever's coming in is going out. The court keeps nothing. Every dollar that they receive goes somewhere else, be it, the city, the state, whomever, county.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much, Dave.
Okay, and just as a reminder, apologize, I'm 2 weeks late. I think most of you know why, as far as the appearance. But, we did finish the audit. It was dated in early December. This was loaded up to Treasury within the 180 days as required by Public Act 2. So even though the presentation is after the end of the year, you comply, the city complied with everything as far as the reporting requirements. So,
Thank you. Glad
All right.
you're feeling better.
thank you.
Okay, moving on, we have community events. I'm going to bring up Mr. Downey, who is our interim Parks and Recreation Director.
Hello, Mayor and Council. On February 25th at 7 p.m., the Garden City Police will be taking on the Westline Police in a charity hockey game at Garden City Ice Arena. Admission of the game will be free, but we will be accepting donations going to Detective Sergeant Devin Kasher of the Michigan State Police, who was injured in the line of duty. We hope to see everybody there.
Okay, thank you. Should be a good event. We used to do the Warriors, and this should be a good event for the sergeant that was injured in line of duty. Next, Miss Jackie Peridor from the Garden City Business Alliance.
Hello, Mayor and Council. How are you guys? Nice
Very good.
holidays? Yes?
Very good.
Okay, good. I'm here just to let everybody know about a couple of events that are coming up. We did secure the dates for Music in the Park, so we will be doing that again this summer. Just so everyone knows, the dates are 6/15, 7/20, and 8/17. At that point, that's all we know yet. But we are going to do it, and those are the dates. The other thing I have some flyers here for City Hall. We're doing a contest, so it's called Share the Love event. We have local businesses that are donating to a cart full of love, and we are going to have a winner drawn. Now, the way you enter the contest is you take a picture, a selfie of yourself and your loved one, be it pet or child or spouse, in front of your favorite GCBA business. You upload that to our Facebook page, and that's your entry into the contest. Okay, so I do have flyers for everybody. The contest starts on the 30th, and we will pull the winner on February 10th, and then we'll coordinate with them and maybe do a live Facebook of them getting their cart full of love. So that's what I have to say today. Can I give these to you, sir? There you go. Thank you.
Question,
Okay.
what are the businesses donating?
So far, we have K&E Liquidators, which is the new business on Middle Belt. We have Precision Dental, that is the new dentist office on Ford Road. Liberty Tax on Ford Road. Pride Financial, National Realty Centers.
Are they donating money? What are they donating?
You want to know what? Okay, so we have K&E is a Keurig and candles.
Okay, so something from the business we can.
Right.
Okay.
And the toothbrush from Precision Dental, and the cart full of love is from me, National Realty Centers, the cart. It's a foldable wagon. So, everybody could use one of those in their garage. We have Hogs Barbecue actually donated a piggy bank with money in it to start a bank account. It is adorable. We've got all kinds of stuff going in the cart. So hopefully we'll get that rolled out on the 30th. Well, no, we will get it rolled out on the 30th, and we'll start taking pictures and putting them on Facebook of the things that are in the cart.
Count me in.
Pardon me?
Count me in.
May I bring you some flyers?
Yes.
Okay, because it can be with your pet. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Okay, item 9, no petitions and communications. We have no public hearings. Item 11, the consent agenda. Motion is in order.
Mayor,
Councilmember DeMichael.
I move to approve the consent agenda items A1 through A6. Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires. Any discussion? General public? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passes 7-0. I would like to say that welcome back to J. Lee Lynch, who is being put on the Commission on Aging. So she didn't stay away for long. 11B, action items. We have the WOW dark fiber installation and renewal contracts.
Mayor,
Councilmember Witt.
I move to approve contracts with WOW Business regarding the installation of dark fiber between City Hall and the Radcliffe Center, and renew our current agreement for dark fiber between the other city facilities, contingent upon city attorney review.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires. Any discussion from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Item 2 is the interim DDA Executive Director contract. Mr. Doherty or Mr. Fleming, you want to, or Mr. Prosh, whoever?
It would be Fleming.
I'm John Fleming, the chair for the Downtown Development Authority. After a search to replace Councilman Dold, we really didn't find someone that fit the bill as of yet, and we didn't want the office to go vacant, so one of our members who is going to resign after the contract's approved, John Price, has has decided he would like to take over that job as an interim DDA director. And you should have a copy of the contract that we had approved at last week's meeting.
Okay, thank you. Motion is in
Mayor?
order. Councilmember Dole.
Motion to approve the contract for the interim DDA executive director as approved by the DDA Board of Trustees.
Support.
Support by Councilmember Witt. Any discussion from council?
We look forward to working with you, Mr. Prosh. Hopefully, everything goes great at the DDA.
Okay, any discussion from the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 7-0. Thank you, congratulations, I think.
I think.
Item 12, other business, city limit signs.
Mayor.
Councilmember Witt.
So I spoke with city administration earlier last week, I'm sorry, about the city limit signs after the Ethan Van Bell placards were taken down. I would like to thank DPW. They did work fast after my conversation with the city manager. The sleeves were replaced on all of the signs just because years of, putting holes in them. If you were driving past it, you would see the holes down the sleeves of the posts. So, a big thank you to DPW for switching out the sleeves. And then I was going to ask the city manager if we can find something as a more permanent sign that could stay up maybe quarterly, looking forward to events coming in the city. And then if we have any other certain accolades that might, be with the city, that could be a year-round thing instead of just a placard card that goes up for, a year at a time and then is taken down until we can find something to switch it out with. That is all that I have.
Thank you.
Okay, just to piggyback off of that, I wouldn't mind if administration would look into something a little nicer, a little more permanent on some of our entryways that probably cost a little more money, but maybe look into, like Councilman Witt said, making it a little nicer for our appearance coming in instead of just the two poles and a sign. I think we could do a little bit nicer job with that. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Witt.
And I also have spoken with the city manager about that. I'm looking into ways with our, the school's construction trade programs. I still have to speak with some of the administration to see what we can do about maybe incorporating the schools into making city limit signs. And then I was going to work with Doc to see what we can do with Wayne County, because Ford Road and certain intersections, we can't put as big of a sign because they're a hazard for vehicles driving if they were to, go off of the roadway. So I'm going to work with Doc to hopefully pick up on something so we can have, an idea, a benchmark for what we want to, have as our new city limit signs.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, item 13, public comment. Anybody wishing to speak on non-agenda items? Ms. Peridor.
I forgot something with the contest, sorry. If you don't know a GCBA business, you can go to the website at gardencitybusinessalliance.org, find your location, and then go take your picture. Okay, sorry.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Okay, any other public comment? Anybody wishing to speak? Wow, okay. Item 14, report to city manager.
I have nothing this evening, Mayor.
Councilmember Earl.
Thank you, Mayor. First, congratulations to Lori. You can't, even a plaque can't state everything that she does for this community. And I can tell you, personally that she sponsored several of my baseball teams, and so I greatly appreciated that. It's well-deserved. I love seeing us recognize these people that help our community, because our community has a lot of helpers. And then congratulations to Engineer Schroeder. You know, our citizens have fantastic firefighters. They do a great job, and I'm glad to see a good man get promoted. So congratulations on that, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Karafotis.
I just have one thing, which I'm so glad to announce that we actually have an ad out. We're going to be hiring an animal control officer, and we're taking applications for that. Obviously, we won't have a facility, but at least an officer that can handle some of the calls, and it's going to make a huge difference in our city.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Squires.
Yeah, just a couple things. Congratulations to Lori on all she does and thank you for all you do in the community. And congrats to Engineer Schroeder, not only on his promotion, but on the new babies. They are precious. And another congratulations to Mike Jones, who was just elected the new president of the Commission on Aging. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Dole.
I've got a couple of things, just to mimic everyone. And something that wasn't mentioned, Lori also sat on the DDA board for a while, so that was some additional volunteer work that she did. And congratulations to Engineer Schroeder. We have a wonderful fire department in Garden City. I wanted to say congratulations to the Garden City Middle School and the Garden City High School varsity pom-pom teams. They actually qualified this past Saturday to move on to the state championships.
Of course they did.
In Eastern. And the Garden City Middle School team was just recently formed again this year, so they received I can't remember the exact name, but it was an award for their potential. That's how well they're doing. So if anyone's interested in that, and I got to tell you, watching these kids, not just from Garden City, but from all over, do these routines, I just walk away amazed that that they have this talent. You know, I have 2 left feet, so. But the state championships will be February 12th, Eastern Michigan, so I wish them all good luck, and especially my granddaughter that's on one of them. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember DeMichael.
All I have tonight is to thank Lori from Sports Venue and to congratulate Engineer Schroeder. And I also wanted to say thank you to our treasurer, Mr. Brian Marciniak. What a great job for us to get the unmodified review. And you're doing a phenomenal job, and I can't say enough appreciation and thanks for everything you do behind the scenes to make sure that we are staying fiscally responsible. And that's all I have tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Witt.
Yes, just congratulations again as well to Lori. Love Sports Venue. They do a wonderful job in our community, as well to fire engineer Nicholas Schroeder. My condolences do go out to my buddy Jared and his brother Jonathan for the passing of their mother. There is a celebration of life for Pam Balfour actually this Saturday at Sports Venue from noon to 4. She was a big help in the schools. She worked in the schools for a very long time. So if you know her, if you don't know her, just stop by and say hi and pay your respects. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Miller?
I have nothing to say.
Nothing? Okay, I have just a couple things. Again, congratulations to Lori. I'm sure she'll thank me properly later. She gets embarrassed and easily. She doesn't like that spotlight, but when you do as many good things as she does, I think it was really appropriate for her to get the award. So I'm sure she'll yell at me later. Also, congratulations to Engineer Nick. I can't believe he made us wait 3 months just because he had twins, but it was due. And again, it's good to see him promoted. Sunday, February 5th at Joe D's, they are having a broomball tournament. And sign up is at 11:30. It starts at noon. And if you've never done broomball, it's basically playing pool with with a broom. You use the handle, and they play pool. With the handle side, you will hit the ball, and they play a whole tournament, and it is a lot of fun, and some of them are pretty good at it. They'll chalk the broom handles, but the benefit of it is going for the food pantry, Garden City Food Pantry, so it benefits us. They will have a lot of raffle baskets there to win and buy raffle tickets for. I think they have some kind of food raffles and all kinds of stuff like that. Broomstick. Broomstick ball. Yeah. Broomstick ball, I was corrected. Thank you. But again, it is a lot of fun, and again, it goes, Kathy, and this is, I think the 15th year, Kathy and Skip used to do it, and they're still doing it in honor of Skip, so it benefits the food pantry. For those staying around for my forum afterwards, it'll start in about 10 minutes. Take a little break, and we'll come back out, and I'll do that. So, having no more business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.